Alright, this is just a quick tutorial about how to import magicavoxel uh, from OBJ to whatever you want through Blender while adding a UV, reducing vertices, and, you know, vertices will go from this to this, which is good for space and client performance. And also you can bake some simple shading into the texture, which can be a nice touch. So you start with your freshly imported model. I always do Alt-G and Alt-R. Make sure that it doesn't have any rotation. Usually it comes sideways. When you do that, just do that, and then go into edit mode and just rotate it back. That's how I do it. Oh, I usually put the presets to, oh, not that one. This presets to meters. And it seems to be like 10 times, so you can see up here it says meters. If we want it imported in the mind tests, it's like these 10 meters. This is a meter for mind test. You know, it says 10 meters. I don't know if you can see that. This gun is about 1 meter long. In as it is, I don't know what the real life dimension is offhand, but yeah. No. So anyway, first thing I do is delete the original material because it doesn't work well with. You can see there's no shading, so we just delete that. I already made a material for him, so you can see now. You know, it's a little bit shaded in, which is good. Oh, another thing, on to add more W, remove doubles. It's an easy halfway. You know, that just knocks off a whole bunch. So we have here, over on this side, you can see our original UV map, and it's just that each of these, you know, this one is this color, you know, each one is like its own separate color. So what we want to do is make a new UV map. Into this new image, 160 UV, 128 by 128. Yeah, that's good. Some more detailed models, bigger models, you might need more, you might need less. With less detailed models, but here we are. I like to use Smart UV. Set the angle limit to as low as it can. Turn off stretch to UV bonds. Here we are. So you can see that works pretty well. See, this one is crooked here. When things are crooked, they tend to mess it all up. See, this one is going to be off kilter as well. You can go into here and bake it. Yeah, wow. Sometimes things will be turned, like this guy too is also turned around. Put that guy in an empty space. And I suppose the first thing you should do is decide on what resolution you want. I usually go for 4 pixels per voxel, like one of these. That's going to have 4 pixels on it just for shading resolution. You can do more or less if you want. And put the right click to put the cursor up there. Set the pivot to the 2D cursor, select it all, and just scale down until, you know, it fits where you want it. You can, you know, if you're off, you should see. Just keep lining it up. You know, if you go to the very end, less to the very end, but the farther you go, the more accurate you can get it in. See, this one's off a little bit. Another bake. See, that's pretty well. It's almost perfectly aligned, but not quite. See, right down here, these ones aren't. This is the one that was crooked. So move that over. So we need to rotate it just a itty bitty bit. Okay, get rid of this pivot. see the one that was crooked. And this one's off too. Usually when something's crooked, it pushes something down. So you can see this one's a little bit too low. So I want to make sure to select everything above it. Oh, and it's Control plus on the numpad. You know, keep adding. Okay, we'll line this one up. Pretty good. And this one. I'll rebake it. And that looks good. So just to get everything perfect, you go in UV, snap to pixels, grab, click. Now every one of these dots, you know, when that's enabled, it'll snap to the pixels. So it'll get it perfect. You know, nothing should, you know, go over. You'll get a nice seamless UV. Alright, so that UV is done. Oh, one thing. I want to suppose you go in here when you're in the UV editor, you know, you press F3 to save it. And that's what you'll use, you know, in your Blender file, in your mind test mod. You know, you'll say, this is the UV. Use this texture. So at this point, I usually like to duplicate it, move it to another layer. This will be your rendering. So if you want to change, you know, if you want to add a light, change the light, anything like that, you know, you can just re-render it. See, if I want the sun to be straight down, I can just rebake it. Easy. And this one will be our export. So since it's our export, we can go over here, get rid of this, the original UV map. And you can also use this decimate by planar. And this will go from, you know, having all of these to be, you know, just kick down all those faces. And yeah, that's how it renders, but it actually looks just fine. Here, let me it still doesn't look good in Blender, but it looks fine in my test. It doesn't have any of these white things. So, trying to think. You have to make sure to delete the other UV map, otherwise it won't use it at all. Or Mindtest won't use it at all. Then yeah, when you're ready to that, just, you know, you can export it you can export it as OBJ again, or you can do P3D or whatever you'd like. And you'll have a nice reduced model.